Some people just want a conflict.
How you gonna conflict with yourself? Them niggas are shadow boxing. Bam!
It is.
Welcome.
You back, man.
What's up with you, brother?
Ain't shit, man. Tuna fork, baby. That's what's up.
Oh, that's right.
Shit.
Episode 20, what is it?
28.
I wonder when we get to like 634, we gonna still say it? Probably not.
Probably. Yeah, I'm gonna lose count at like 40.
Shit, I'm struggling at this point. Or how you feeling today?
I'm good, man. Beautiful day.
Mm-hmm.
Birds singing, moving around.
Socks popping.
Socks popping.
Man, we should probably come out with a line of socks, dog.
Sure, dog. That'd be dope. Tuna fork socks. Stay tuned for that, y'all. Internets.
So, I was listening to a interview earlier, and I was watching the I don't even want to call him a journalist, entertainer interview somebody, and they were talking about the term critical race theory.
Nice.
And they were discussing what it means and how it's being used as like a political ploy to further divide people because, you know, now that the Blue Lives Matter shit has lost steam from, you know, the January 6th shit, that they're trying to actually find other ways to keep the dissent going. Mm-hmm. And there's a recurrent theme that I think we talk about at times on the podcast about communication and how important it is to make sure that the words that we're using are ones that we understand and are clear on.
Right.
And how sometimes they can be ours, but in most cases, in a lot of cases, they're someone else's, right? That we're actually parroting. Mm-hmm. But one of the things I wanted to actually touch on today is how we use that, how we use the concept of words mattering in very specific situations.
Right.
And how we can kind of use them as a weapon and also a shield.
Okay.
So we can throw them motherfuckers, we can use a word to hurt somebody, or we can use a word, or we can use the value of a word to keep us from being hurt or keep us from listening and connecting with someone else, which results in a breakdown in communication. So I'm just throwing that out there and just kind of seeing what pops up, or what your thoughts are about that.
You know, I've been thinking about, we touched on this once before, man, where we talked about, you know, these terms. And I think words are different from terms. So you got these terms that exist that people create, and they attach all these different values and thoughts and ideas to this one term, right? And it happens, it's not a liberal, conservative thing. It's all over the place, man. And sometimes because that term encompasses so many different things, that in conversations, when that term is used, you know, if you don't agree with a piece of that, then, you know, it creates a conflict, right? Because you could just be speaking to a piece of it, but someone else could not agree with another piece, and then now you're in a conflict, whether it's verbal or otherwise, because you all aren't clear on what these terms mean. Instead of talking through the idea of what you're saying, you sort of you kind of cover it all with this random term that you heard from somewhere else or saw on the internet somewhere, and now, you know, it's just the term to use. And it's been that way for a long time, man. It ain't new. I mean, critical race theory ain't new. I mean, as a term, it was, you can go down the list, toxic masculinity and all of these terms that people kind of just throw around that that hinder you from actually getting to the meat of what you're trying to convey to someone else.
And I think you're right. There is a difference between terms and words. And I think the reason why I use the critical race statement to kind of like symbolize an easy target.
Yes.
Like toxic masculinity.
Yes.
These terms that we throw around are ones that are easy to pick out.
Yes.
But there are similar tactics that we are employing in our general conversation with people that aren't as easy to pick out.
True.
And we actually, and those are words in some cases.
Right.
Right. And so.
And there's a disconnect between what you think those words mean and what the person you're talking to thinks that those words mean. Because you guys could be in different places on what this word actually means and how it's used. Sorry, go ahead.
And I think and so that's a piece of it. And it's also people not using the words that we want to use.
Yeah.
Like
Do we want to use or we want them to use?
Or we want them to use.
Okay.
Or I don't like the word. I don't like you using that word.
Right.
Or I don't like you. I want you to use another word. Or I wouldn't say that. I would say this.
Right.
Or
right.
But when you said that, it didn't really, capture what it is that.
Right.
And I think like these are I don't like that word. I don't like when you said how you said that. Right.
Right.
This is how we talk amongst people. Because
yeah.
To outside people, we use terms.
Right.
Because those are perceived to have similar equal value. So when we're transferring that concept, we do it through these terms.
Right.
But in our one-to-one life, with our women, with our kids, with our homeboys and shit like that, we get caught up on words.
Yes.
A lot of times.
Yes.
And which kind of digs deeper into the idea of words matter, but they don't. And so the whole purpose of using words is really to communicate a thought.
Yes.
That's all a word is. A word in and of itself has no value.
Right.
It's whatever the fuck we give it, right?
Right.
So if I'm trying to tell you something,
right.
Who gives a shit what kind of word I use?
Well, true. But also, that communication piece has to work both ways. So if I'm trying to tell you something and you can't receive what I'm telling you because of your association, whatever word I'm using, how do we mitigate that?
So, great fucking question. So let's say I say, I don't like how you was fucking talking to me the other day. That shit was rude, and you pissed me the fuck off, and you need to find another way to talk to a nigga.
Right.
You're going to probably focus on the words and how I said it, as an example, and vice versa.
Right.
Well, nigga, you got to find a way to be talking to me. I don't like yeah, okay, two wrongs don't make a right. And so we're communicating. What I'm really trying to tell you, bro, is that you hurt me.
Facts.
My feelings got hurt.
Right.
Or,
right.
Right. But it's the way I'm saying it.
Yeah.
That we'll actually spend time. Well, you got to apologize to me and this and that and the third.
Yeah.
We're actually apologizing for fucking words that we're using.
Right.
When, and this is what I mean when I say they matter, but they don't.
Right.
Because what I'm really trying to, so what is your objective? Is your objective to really understand and get to the root of what I'm saying? Or do you want it, or is your objective to have my gripes be communicated in a way that's palatable to you? So, because if I'm really trying to communicate, because the words, if I'm trying to communicate something, I'm going to use the words that I feel are the best for me to use. And so when you're trying to actually listen, you getting bent out of shape about it is actually a reflection of you, not me.
Yeah, but do you think that the opposite could be true? Do you think that, and of course this is a hypothetical conversation, do you think that how you presented them could not have been the best way to present them. So whoever you were talking to, and like I said, this is just hypothetical. So if you walked up to somebody, you was like, man, that shit you did the other day, I ain't like that shit at all, dog. You don't ever do that shit again, right? And then the next day he came to you and was like, man, I ain't like the way you talk to me, right? Both of y'all, and what you were saying in the beginning really was the same thing. Like, you hurt me.
Yeah.
Because you know what I'm saying? I was hurt by 1, 2, 3, 4. But you didn't present it that way. So now you guys are stuck in this quagmire about apologizing and real nigga shit and all of this, when neither one of y'all really went into the shit properly expressing what the fuck you was trying to say.
So it's just somebody got to go first.
Exactly.
And
exactly.
so,
or somebody got to know how to know. I mean,
well,
we can't, dog. We struggle with communicating with each other.
So that's why we having a conversation.
Right.
So
not us, but just people.
So it's going to, here's the thing that I feel very, 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 very deeply about, bro. There are aspects of human beings that relate to intelligence and vocabulary.
Okay.
We all are emotional people.
Yep.
And we have to have a certain level of intelligence, which is basically how connected, how aware, how are you in tune with your emotional landscape, right? As an individual.
Right.
And then how well can you articulate that
Yes.
to other people?
Yes.
And the way we articulate things is through words.
Right.
And your words are based on a vocabulary.
Yes.
So you have to have an intelligence,
Yes.
meaning how aware, how in tune, and then do you have the words to communicate it?
Right.
If we were tapped in, if we were on some Elon Musk Neuralink shit, we wouldn't even need words.
Right.
Because we could communicate directly to the nigga or
Right.
whoever it is. And so when I'm hurt, you would know I'm hurt. And you really
Right.
wouldn't have anything to beef with about. And you might just be like, my bad. And we move on.
Yeah.
So what happens is most of us, bro, don't have a high intelligence level and don't have a broad vocabulary
Right.
about a lot of this emotional shit.
Well, intelligence meaning, to me, intelligence meaning taking very complex things and presenting them in a way that's very simple. That's sort of intelligence as a definition. So you have these very like complex group of emotions swirling around. And we've said this before, shit that you carry with you, shit that you've experienced, what the fuck you were feeling that day, you know what I'm saying? All of this shit's swirling around. And then something interacts with you and it makes you feel away, right? Or somebody says something, your man say something, your people say something, your woman, you do say something that makes you feel a particular way. Now, can you then have the intelligence to say, hey man, I'm feeling all these things, I'm having this crazy ass day, and now I'm feeling hurt by what this motherfucker just did. You know what I'm saying? Do I want to sift through this shit and figure out what the fuck is really going on? Or do I want to tell them, hey man, what you're saying to me, I don't like. Like I'm feeling away, I'm already feeling away today, or I'm already kind of in a weird space, and what you're saying to me kind of got a vibe to it, and it's kind of making me, hurt or angry or whatever the situation is. Can you do all those things, and do you have, and it ain't got to be a broad vocabulary, do you have the vocabulary that fits what you're feeling in order to articulate it? Or are you just like, I'm mad? You know what I'm saying?
And
then does the person you talking to have that same level to say, you know what, man, I'm sorry, you my man. I would never do anything. I'm sorry that you feel that way. You know what I'm saying? My bad.
So I want to highlight something that you said. You said that the thoughts are complex, but the vocabulary doesn't have to be broad. And which counters the complexity of it.
And that's intelligence.
So, but you said it. So I feel like the reason why it's complex to people is because they don't have enough they don't have a relationship, a strong enough relationship to it, and don't
To what?
to the emotions. So when you said that the complex, you said that these complex thoughts, I feel like there's simple things that people just don't spend enough time with.
Well, when I say complex, I mean it could be like these feelings could be maybe complex was a good word. Could be a combination of 7 or 8 different things going on, right? That have you in this moment feeling this way. Not necessarily, and then again, the simple is the way that you feel. But what drives the way that you feel could be 5 or 6 different things swirling around at the same time. Or not. I mean, it could be, and again, it's not a sum total. It could be combination, or it could be one thing. I mean,
whatever it is, are you aware of it?
That's the point.
So, and that's the intelligence.
Yes.
So, and all I see, my definition of intelligence is an extremely basic one.
Right.
Your ability to see the connection between things. That's intelligence. Now, there are complexities, there are levels of complexity, there are different layers of how dots are connected in those, but that relates to intelligence.
Yes.
So it's just, can you see this thing connects to this thing and how it connects to that thing? And then can you tell somebody how it connects?
Yes.
So,
that's like you said.
what we get caught up a lot of times is about the words.
Yes.
And not what the words are actually pointing to. Which leads to the point where I was saying before, words matter, but they don't. The words matter only up to the point to where they are communicating the thing. And we will hide behind the words when it suits us, but we'll want flexibility in the words when it doesn't, when it suits us to have the flexibility.
But let me ask you, so just so I'm clear, so you're saying that you said something about how we use the words and the meaning behind the words. It's hard for someone when you're using words to see the meaning behind the words unless you know that motherfucker very well, right? If you just kind of if you don't have that level of connection to your own sort of how you sift through your shit, then it's hard for you to see the meaning behind the words that someone else is saying. And that's tough.
And another word for connection is intelligence. So it's very tough.
Right.
It's very tough. And this is why we beef. And this is why we hide behind the words. None of us, so if you have the intelligence, you know what's going on inside you. Right. But you may not necessarily have the vocabulary to articulate it, which I feel is what happens a lot of time with dudes. Yeah. So when we in these relationships with women, we feel in a certain way. Yeah. We just don't know how to say it.
Yes. And sometimes we don't want to seem like we think that saying it makes us look weak, so we don't. And probably because we don't feel like we have the words to say it without looking weak. Exactly.
So but even that could be communicated. Like even that could be communicated, but we don't communicate it. So we have the intelligence, but we lack the vocabulary in a lot of the ways. Right. And so when you're meeting somebody, when you're having a conversation with somebody, especially with like your woman, this is something I've learned a lot motherfucking later in life, bro. Because I spend way too much time thinking about shit like this. I felt certain things, I just didn't know how to say them. And I felt certain things and I didn't necessarily know where they were coming from. So if I don't have the intelligence and I don't have the vocabulary, if you with a woman, you looking wild as a motherfucker, bro. Yeah.
Because it's going to come out.
It's going to come out.
And it's going to come out wild.
And these things that they're saying can only be left up for their interpretation.
Yep.
Because you don't know.
Yeah.
So if you don't know, how the fuck are they gonna know?
Right.
So now all of their insecurities,
That's what I was
all
gonna
of
say.
their fears,
It connects
all,
right to that.
all of their shit is projected onto you when you really just, you in the same, you're probably kind of in the same boat, but you don't even know how to say that. So
Right. But see, this goes to, you said something to me a while ago that was deep, dog, that we lead this shit. However we present, that's how the fuck they show up. So when we present in insecurities and not being able to really say what the fuck, we need to say not doing the work that it takes to connect those dots, those emotional dots and all that shit, and being able to voice it in a way that's productive and honest and vulnerable and all that shit. And because we project it in insecurities. So that's how that's where it lands for them. And then that's what it is. And then it's a shit show after that.
And we really lead in a lot of ways we don't know we're leading in relationships.
Exactly.
But they might not necessarily be the most constructive ways of leading, because a part of what I'm saying about here with these words is we not gonna be dictionaries. We not gonna have all of this shit right.
Right.
We're not gonna have the answers. We're not gonna say the right thing the first time.
Yep.
We're gonna probably need 10 times to say the shit. And this is with every motherfucking relationship, right? So why are we putting all of this value into words as if we got all of this shit together? This is the whole point of even the conversation.
Yeah.
Niggas is saying the wrong shit.
Yep.
We will say in a minute, dog, that words matter.
Yeah.
And this matter. We hear this shit.
Yeah.
We even repeat it in some instances when somebody's saying some shit that we don't like.
Right.
We won't say words matter when we fuck up.
Right. Right.
And when we do fuck up and not say the wrong thing, guess what we want? Grace.
Yeah.
We want space.
Yeah.
We want the opportunity to fumble through and figure it out and try to edit and move some shit around so that we can really get to what we're saying. Because what happens, bro, is when you feel like everything you're going to say is going to get fucking picked apart,
right,
it makes you not want to say nothing.
Yep.
And so you're not even practicing
right
speaking.
And saying nothing is words too. It's saying something. Like when you don't say anything, that's a lot of times even worse than saying something.
But what are you saying? Because if we're trying to communicate, there are very specific things that we're trying to communicate.
Right.
Not saying something can be a statement.
Yes.
Is what you're trying to say reflected in not saying something?
Right.
And most times it's not. We ain't saying something because we don't want a motherfucker knock somebody's head off. We don't want to say something because we trying to not keep the argument going. We don't want to say nothing because we don't know what the fuck to say.
Right. Or we've exhausted.
We ain't really tapped into it.
Or we've exhausted through everything that we were trying to say, and we just can't figure out how the fuck to get this shit across in an acceptable way. So we just shut down. But that
I'm sorry, go ahead.
But that, I mean, again, dog, that goes, and again, the communication piece has to go both ways, dog. It's the lack of the ability to be able to say what we're thinking and truly in an honest way. And there's also a lack of the ability to accept what the fuck is being said. And that goes, and a lot of times, if you can't articulate that, you can't receive it either.
But you know what you're not accepting?
What?
The words.
What do you mean?
It's the
words that you're saying, or the words that you use?
The words that the other person is saying is what we're not accepting. You see what I'm saying?
I'm trying.
So
yes.
So when we say we don't want to accept, if let's say what can I use? Let's say you sitting right here and you saying some shit, bro, and you saying, yo man, that shit is fucked up, bro. Every motherfucking time I come over here, you ain't here. The shit is starting to fucking piss me off.
Right.
Am I not accepting? What am I not accepting? I'm actually not accepting the words.
Right. Well, I mean,
Because what you're communicating is frustration.
and it's clear.
But you should always accept what the fuck somebody brings you.
Okay. I see what you're saying.
Especially when you care about them.
I see what you're saying.
But I will focus on the words.
Right.
And be like, dog, you got to find a better way to speak to me. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But you speaking to me in the best way that you can, bro.
Yeah.
Because you really, and this is what happens in these relationships and shit. When we say words matter, they do, but they don't. They don't. Because the words are actually what is getting in the way of communicating. Because we're actually putting too much faith into them.
But here's the thing, though. In that statement, if you say, if I came over here and said, you know, you ain't never here starting to piss me off, I said some very key things. I said how I'm feeling, and I said why I'm feeling the way that I'm feeling, right? If I came in here just like, man, just talking about like how you just generally are fucking up and how you can't never get shit, you know what I'm saying? Not addressing what the fuck I'm really feeling, then the words are in a way because you don't know what the fuck is happening.
And you know what I do? You know what I should do? Here's a great example. You all right, man? What's wrong, dog?
Yeah.
Let's take a break.
Yeah.
What you got coming in?
Yeah.
Give a motherfucker time to process through.
Right. Right.
I was meeting with somebody the other day, dog, and they were talking and their words did not match their energy.
Right.
And as I was talking to them, I said, I feel like your words are getting in the way.
Right.
Of what you're feeling because the words aren't matching your energy.
Right. Right.
And so I think I might need some help from you in better understanding exactly what it is that you're trying to say.
Right.
Because the words don't match.
Right.
Now, how we're communicating with people and how we're perceiving it
and receiving it
is extremely counterproductive.
Yes. Yep.
Because think about this.
Yeah.
If we going into every scenario saying the first time ain't probably the right time.
Right.
But the first time is what we betting on everywhere.
Yep.
All the motherfucking time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even though we know, even in ourselves,
yeah,
we ain't gonna say it right the first time.
That's
we
clean.
ain't gonna get it right. So what can we focus on other than the words?
That's
to
clean.
Tap into, to connect. Because for me, I think what is helping me be better at that, dude, is getting better at trying to communicate. One of the things that I posted online, I put this little thing in order of difficulty for me to say out loud. The first one was like, I don't know. The second one was like, I'm sorry, or something like that. The last one, the hardest thing for me to say, dog, the two hardest things for me to say is you hurt me and I'm scared. Them are the two hardest things for me to say. But in reality, it's ultimately those two things that are the trigger for all of the motherfucking bullshit ways I respond to people.
Right.
And the better I get at cutting through all of the bullshit,
right,
just to get to the, yo, man, you hurt me, dog. Like, yo, man.
I don't even sound like, that's tough to even hear, dog.
But
it's true, dog. Everything you're saying is clean. It's clean.
I don't know, because that's ultimately what we're really trying to say. Especially with a dude like me, who I don't anymore. I used to struggle with fear of abandonment, dog.
Right.
I was scared as a motherfucker of a woman leaving me.
Yeah.
Of just like, and so, But the crazy part about it is I would create scenarios that ultimately
Ended up
made that outcome present, right? So
yeah.
so whenever a woman did something, or ever I did something and a woman responded, it was like, well, I knew you were gonna leave me anyway, or something would happen and I would respond in a certain way. I actually be like, damn, she's about to leave. She's about to leave. She's about to leave. She's about to leave. And so how that would show up in my reaction, the person would probably never even know that I was scared. They would never even know that my feelings were hurt.
Yep.
They would never know that based on how I'm responding, but this is how I'm responding.
Right.
And so how can we, so what's making me better understand the process of communicating and using the words only up to a certain point is by being mindful of how hard it is for me to do it in myself. There's very few motherfuckers who are literally walking around with, you ain't shit, bitch. Like, that's not the energy most motherfuckers is giving off, bro.
Right.
At their core.
Right.
Most motherfuckers is walking around scared, dog, and in pain.
Yep.
And don't know how to fucking say that.
Yep. And deeper than that, dog, they're saying that to themselves.
Yeah.
They're saying that to themselves because they're, I mean, scared ain't a word. Motherfuckers is terrified, dog, of all kinds of shit.
And then
they're scared of being, well, I don't know if there's a piece that you do everything you can not to be hurt, even though, and abandon is the same thing. Even though you do everything you can to create that environment, which is crazy. But then you can't communicate that feeling because that will make you vulnerable, which would make it more painful when you're abandoned. Like, if you put up this kind of like, I don't give a fuck, you know what I'm saying, vibe, you're still gonna be hurt when you're abandoned, but you kind of have this thing up. Yeah. But if you tell a motherfucker that you are afraid of being abandoned, that you've been through, and really let them know where you are, who you are, and what you're afraid of, and then they abandon you still, that's a different level, dog. So all of us exist in this space where we want to create this thing. So even when we're talking about how we're feeling, it ain't really how we're feeling. You know what I'm saying? We don't say that we're hurt and scared. We just say that we're upset, or that we're, I got, another one, I got trust issues and all, we kind of put on this thing that ain't really what we're going through.
And we meet people who know that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it's something that they are just, especially when you get old enough, man, you just see and move shit. You can move through the bullshit differently, and more, and you can move through certain bullshit more smoothly than you could when you were younger.
Yeah, clearly. More clearly too.
Yeah. But we still hold on to these words, bro. And they have, all a word is a tool, like a goddamn screwdriver, like a hammer. That's all these shits are, bro. They have no value other than how we give them the value that they have. Yet and still, we don't, I lost my train of thought. So how do we get out, how do we remove them? How do we, not remove them, but how do we keep them from seeing the person that we're talking to, bro? Because, in my relationships, I done had some women say some wild shit to a nigga. And I gave the words value. I knew what they were trying to say. I knew that they were hurt.
Yeah.
You know, when I was like, well, you said it.
Yeah.
That must be what you really mean. Yeah. And how many times do we say that? And that person, yeah, they might have said it. Yeah, a part of it they might have meant. But what was the bigger story? It's like, damn, man. Yeah. It's a little bit of sugar and cookies.
Yeah.
But it ain't 10,000 grams of it.
Right.
It's shit. I mean, it's okay to have that ingredient in the motherfucking message.
Right.
It's a lot of other shit that's in there too.
Yeah, man. That's deep. That's deep. And I think that grace piece. And what you said, dog, if someone came in and came in here and be like, motherfucker, you ain't never hear all that, and for you to say, hey man, you all right? I mean, that is, dog, that is beyond what probably 99% of people will do. They will react to the words, right? And then it becomes a thing. Instead of cutting through the words, and not really cutting through, but understanding that it's more than just the words, right? And having and being and extending a level of grace and love to be like, man, you good? You know what I'm saying? That is different, right? So I think and that starts with having those conversations with yourself. Like, we don't even have that conversation when we walk around huffing and puffing and all of that. We don't be like, all right, let me sit the fuck down and get my, you know what I'm saying, and get my shit together and let this shit wash through. You know what I'm saying? Let me calm down. We don't do that to ourselves, so it's hard for us to extend it to somebody else.
I thought you were saying that. I think one of the reasons why we do it, dog, is because it actually requires work. Yeah. Actually, to sit and listen and understand where somebody's coming from requires work.
Yep.
And it requires you to put you to the side.
Yeah. Yep.
Because God forbid somebody come in here and popping off like that and even saying, oh yeah, this nigga with these ugly ass pants on, with these whack ass Jordans, and these dope ass Yeezys.
Right.
We gonna be like, oh, he talking about us. He really ain't talking about us. He's just doing whatever the fuck he's saying. He just lashing out, man. There are a lot of baby men.
That's right.
In the world.
And we had this conversation before. It ain't never about you, dog.
It ain't never.
Right.
And how do you move your bullshit to the side?
Yeah.
Your ego and all of this and that to actually connect with this person.
Yep.
It's, dude, this shit we not even taught, bro. Like it's not even.
Yeah, dog.
And this is the fucked up part about it, because now you in your 40s, 50s, 60s, 100s, trying to listen to a motherfucker when that ain't a muscle you've been exercising, excuse me, through your life.
And it's not something that you've seen.
Not at
like
all.
For you to have seen that happen, dog, I defy anybody to point to a time when they've seen that happen. Like, if they have, dog, they've lived a rare life. Like most people's lives are full of conflict, and this sort of battles and wars, whether it's with words and actions and get backs and I hate this motherfucker. This motherfucker, man. And families have that war dynamic of always having some drama happening, always having some, I don't like her, she did this and they did that, and that's what they carry through their life. So they don't know how to say, well, wait a minute, that is a strange concept for most people.
And it's, as you were saying, that it's easy to see it when it's extreme.
Right.
It's easy to see through it when it's the extreme of the anger.
Yeah.
It's the ones that's in the middle. Like when you come, like imagine when I ended my marriage, I was like, yeah, this ain't working. Nigga, I was scared as a motherfucker. But I didn't say that.
Right.
I didn't say I'm scared.
Yeah.
I was like, this ain't working.
Yeah.
I didn't flare up. I wasn't kicking shit and bitching and hoeing.
Yeah.
It was just this ain't working. So she was like, okay, well, do.
Yeah.
I was gone 3 days later.
Yeah.
sometimes the words show up like that, and they're subtle.
Right. Yeah.
And that's why listening is extremely fucking important, bro.
Yeah.
And that's why asking questions is extremely important.
Yeah.
Because sometimes when somebody's approaching something to you, or when they're coming to you with something, they're truly just trying to work through it. Everybody ain't got the shit laid all out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Before they bring it to you.
Yeah. Yeah.
They might do a shitty job of trying to create a space to kind of like work through it.
Right.
And they're gonna use words that if your style is wild, if you weaken a couple areas, they gonna trigger you, and then you gonna respond in a certain way.
Yeah.
And then the next thing you know, it's an unhealthy conversation.
Right.
There's no progress, nobody's moving forward.
Right. Right.
And what helps me is remembering words matter, but they don't.
Yeah.
What is the person really trying to get at? Like, what are they trying to say? This isn't it.
Right.
And if you give most people enough time, dude,
Yeah.
they will work through it and explain it, but they just need that kind of like, space. Because all this value that words have, we're giving them. We're giving them.
Right.
Critical race theory, what the fuck does that mean?
I don't know.
Like, so tell me what it means, and then I'll tell you if I agree with it.
Right. Right. Well,
What does love mean to you?
Yeah.
Tell me what that means to you,
Yeah.
and then I'll tell you if I feel that way.
But see, here's the key, though. You said to you, because something like, love might be a little different because that's a personal experience. But the critical race theory piece and words like that, phrases like that, they mean different things to different people.
Exactly.
So
But that's why you gotta ask.
but if they're saying that it means something that you don't know what to mean,
But you ask.
so then are you saying, like, if they say, okay, it means teaching about, I don't know, what I've heard is, it's just ridiculous to me, teaching about white supremacy in schools.
And they say they don't believe in that.
No, they say that's what it means to them.
Okay, if that's what it means to them.
And then they say that's what they want. And you say, nah.
Well, so it's like me meeting a white person, dude, and they say they don't believe in racism.
Right.
I will say, what's your definition of racism?
Okay.
I'm not about to sit up here and argue with you.
Right.
I'm not about to sit up here and agree or disagree before I even, because race is one of them motherfucking words that means different things to different people.
Yeah.
So if you telling me that that you don't believe in it, I'm just like, okay, what's your definition of it?
But are they?
But a lot of this shit requires questions.
But are they saying that? And it also requires context, because
Well, they'll tell you when you ask. When you ask the question,
Right.
this is the point that I'm ultimately, is that the words that we're using are getting in the way.
I
The
can see that.
motherfucker might be trying to actually say something else.
Right.
But because I'm interacting with this shithead for the first time, I don't know what he's coming with. I don't know what he necessarily means. And because listen, I don't understand the full definition of every goddamn word I use all the time. I take most of these words, I'm just being honest. If I'm the only nigga on the planet that does that, then clean. But, and I take a lot of words and I bend them around a little
Right,
bit.
right.
It could mean three things, and I might agree with 30% of it and still use the goddamn word.
Right.
That's how I use words. I know that most words I use have a fucking Webster definition, and rarely do the words that I use fit in precisely with that goddamn definition.
But do you think that, like, so there are, and it gets back to where we started. So there are words, but then there are also phrases and terms that people use that have a very, it's weird because it has a very specific meaning and intent, but then it has a very broad meaning and intent, like race, like racism.
But it hasn't changed. But so It's the cultural and then the Webster, sorry to cut you off, the Webster dictionary portion of it.
That's what I'm saying. Right. Right. That's exactly.
But there is a definition.
But then there's a personal definition. Like,
but
I could say.
But that's why you ask.
Yeah, but their personal definition, right? If they say, you say, or white, like you said, your scenario, white man Charlie came up and said, I don't know why he would just walk up to you just and say, I don't believe in racism. And then you said, well, what's your definition of racism? Mm-hmm. He said, I don't think that black people are treated differently than anyone else.
So I would say, so your definition of racism is people being treated differently based on the color of skin.
Yes.
And you don't think that exists.
Yes.
And I'll be like, okay. Now what?
So now y'all are clear.
No,
understanding.
No,
understanding of what racism means to him.
Yes.
That's what I'm saying.
Because he didn't ask me.
Right.
And I probably more than likely won't offer my opinion.
Right.
Because it don't matter.
Yes.
Because I want to know what your opinion means, white
right.
boy. Like, so I'm more concerned with that.
Right.
And I would say, oh, okay. And then just be cool with it.
Yeah.
Now, if he said, when he uses the term racism, I know that he means black people being treated differently because of the color of their skin.
Right.
Because now I know that when he uses that term, that's what it means.
Right.
So when I am in a conversation with him, I would never use racism in my context of the conversation because the definition means something different.
Right.
And I'm willing to throw that motherfucking word away. Now, if I write a book about racism, in that book will be my definition of what it is. Or when I use the term, I will explain clearly what it is if somebody asks. But in most cases, so if I said, yeah, this racism shit is crazy in front of old man Charlie, and Charlie said, racism ain't real, my question would still be, what is your definition of racism?
Right.
He didn't ask me mine. So he just said he don't think it's real.
Right.
So if he don't think, so you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But it requires, so now that it's like love, bro. It means a different thing, or even the concept of friend.
Right.
We gotta start being somebody when you enter into these spaces and we're having conversations. It's important to understand where people are coming from with the words that they use.
Right.
And somebody has to agree. So like old man Charlie might use racism. I might use prejudice as an example for that.
Right. Right.
And I might say, okay, so you use racism. I might use the word prejudice.
Right.
But I'm not going to use my definition of racism because they counter. Because now we're getting ready to spend all of this time. Or I might just say, oh, black people being treated different. I might just say out what the goddamn description of it is.
Right.
But we'll start arguing about the definition of the word is one of my points. We'll sit up here for 45 goddamn minutes, an hour, and be arguing with white people about definitions of words. Well, it's just a fucking word.
But let's flip it though. If it was a black person, I'm pulling my buck out. Shout out to Rodney. If it was a black person and they said, and they don't see the definition of terms like, what is the term? Give me one.
Defund the police?
Fuck it, let's do it. And they say, you ask them, what does defund the police mean to you? And they say, get rid of all police. Mm-hmm. And let's just say you don't agree with that.
Mm-hmm. I do not agree with getting rid of all police.
Right.
I do not agree with that.
So what does that conversation look like? Because
that's it.
That's it.
So if the black dude says, I want to defund the police, right? Let's say we're in there this black dude.
Right.
What is James Shelby's first question?
Right.
What the fuck is that?
You ain't gonna raise your hand, bro.
What does that mean?
Right.
So, and if you say defund the police means getting rid of all police.
Right.
What do you think, James? I would say, I do not think we should get rid of all police.
Right.
Why? Because I'm not going next door. And they might need some help.
But see, it's these terms, dog, and these terms create sides and they create opinions, and you stand on either side of that opinion.
You know why?
So before that conversation even happens, I've had conversations with people, dog, that the minute that you don't side with whatever the popular term is, you're an adversary, and they are in war mode with you. So there's no talking, there's no exchanging of ideas. It's just a war.
But see, so here's the thing. That was great. Every space ain't designed to exchange.
True. That's a fact. That is a fact.
We should not be arguing with any motherfucking body about words, bro.
That's clean. That is clean, dog.
Not about words.
That is clean.
Now, actions, we can have a conversation, but we want to go into these spaces and tell motherfuckers what we know and what we think and what our terms are.
Right.
And then when they don't disagree, now we beefing and fighting.
Right. When they don't agree.
Or when they don't agree.
Right.
So I want to know what you think. I know what I think.
Right.
So, and you are probably, and most people, most times, bro, love telling you what they think.
Yeah, and they even come into it, like the reason why they even put those terms out there is to start that conversation about what they think.
So here's the thing.
That's clean.
They're telling you something.
Yeah.
What are they telling you?
Yeah.
Don't let the words get in the way.
Right.
Because we'll do that too. And excuse me, this is what I mean when I say words matter, but they don't.
Right.
If I see you over there talking about defund the police and da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, I'm not going to let the words get in the way. What you really trying to say?
Right.
So let me sit back and watch you say what you really saying.
Right.
And let me ask the questions that I need to ask to help you say what it is that you really want to say.
Clean. That's clean.
Because other than that, we're going to be arguing. And this is what it means. So the only reason why there are sides is because people aren't listening.
That's true.
Somebody ain't listening for there to be an argument.
Right. And some people just want a conflict.
How you gonna conflict with yourself? Them niggas are shadow boxing.
Exactly.
That ain't a fight.
Nah, it's not. Nah, it's not.
But we got to be clean. Sometimes we want that too.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And there's value in healthy
discourse.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But we got to be clean on what the objective is.
Right.
When we're in those spaces at times.
Right. And it got to be healthy. I'm not yelling back and forth with you and, not listening and because like I said, some motherfuckers just want a war, dog.
And if they that way, dog, if they're that way about these terms, because here's the shit, like you were saying, you say this shit all the time. Bro, do I care about how I interact with white man Charlie? I do. But I really care about how I interact with my woman.
Right.
I really care how I interact with you.
Right.
I really care how I interact with these babies.
Right.
I really care about how I interact with my motherfucking circle of people.
Right.
And these words, in a lot of cases, are getting in the way.
Yeah.
Even with us sometimes, with some of this shit that we're doing, bro.
Right.
I'm not gonna use the best words.
Right.
Like, my spirit is for us to be excellent at this shit.
Right.
How it comes out sometimes, and you have a perspective that you're sharing that reflects your side of the truth and the coin that has to be respected. And I got to make sure I'm not letting the words get in the way from staying connected to that reality, bro.
Right.
Because we not the best at this shit.
Nope.
Did nobody go to school and get a degree in words?
Right. Words.
We got it in some other shit.
Right. Facts.
So, oh man, Charlie is cool. But when my woman come to me and be like, yo, with an attitude, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah, you right, dog.
And every time you come in here and blow up and like, yeah, am I still a thorough nigga just because you came in and yelled at me for like 5 minutes about some shit? Of course I'm still thorough.
Right.
I ain't got to take that shit personally. Now I can say, hey, you need to watch your goddamn mouth. But I can still interpret what you saying.
Right.
Because you need to interpret what the fuck I'm saying. I ain't saying you be treated like shit.
Right.
But what I'm saying too is, don't let the words help make you lose sight of what's really trying to be communicated.
Right.
Because the words are just fucking words.
Dog, that's it right there. They're just words. They're just words, dog. And again, we need to figure out a better relationship with ourselves in those words. And that'll help us sort of extend that same level to other motherfuckers in their words. And we, you know, we know how, but we don't know how. I mean, I venture to say that everybody has felt it, like you said, felt the energy from someone that was different from the words that they're saying. And you're like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, what's happening? What's beyond that? So
we got to separate them, dog.
Yeah.
Very few motherfuckers are aligned.
Yep.
Very few people's words are aligned with their emotions.
That's right.
Like perfectly.
That's
and
right.
There's always a better way for you to do something.
Yep.
You know, and that's where hindsight comes in. That's where second chances come in.
Yep.
And all of that old kind of shit. But
Grace.
but that real time,
Yeah.
you know, in the moment kind of communication, talking to a motherfucker about some complex shit that they ain't really figured out and worked through in their mind.
Yeah.
And then you dealing with motherfuckers parroting terms and phrases that they know 3% of, and they got their chest out like they know 103%.
Right.
You know, like.
Right. They saw a meme or two and now they
Oh, dog, they all in. Oh, even worse, be like me and watch a TED Talk. You better not watch. TED Talk is the best and worst thing that could ever happen. And I thought the documentary was bad.
Nah, dog. TED Talk
a
took it to
15-minute
level.
TED Talk?
Have motherfuckers out here like a 15-minute TED Talk can cause a dude to go on YouTube and go off for 3.5 hours about some shit that he has no idea what he's talking about.
But why did Fauci?
Right. It's a lot of that. It's a lot of that floating around. It's a lot of that.
God bless him, bro.
Yeah.
But again, what would the words were getting away? What they really trying to say? What is that motherfucker who watches the TED Talk and then does a YouTube video? What is he really trying to say?
I don't know.
I'm frustrated.
Yeah, that's true. And I'm scared.
Right.
Or
I don't know. And I feel helpless.
And I need some attention. I need some love, dog.
Somebody
please love me.
It could be but what is he doing it through? A YouTube video with a title, Fauci is an alien and Obama was a man. Monkey.
Man, monkey. Obama was born as a monkey.
Oh, dog.
We had an hour, dog. We good?
What you think about that idea about the socks?
I think that's dope. And it's possible, dog.
It's different.
It's doable, dog. It'd be cool if we I ain't gonna say the idea because the internet's be stealing.
Yeah. So, how many people you say was? 5?
7. We up to 7. They 7 strong though.
Strong. 300 minus 293. 7. We're gonna do a movie called 7.
7.
Right.
7.
First, there were 300.
7. Spell it.
Now there's 7.
7.
You got nickname Pookie coming through.
Yeah.
I'm with y'all, man. I don't care what nobody say. And then the trailer switch off and then go to another time. I felt you from the first time I saw you. And then you could scroll over to another. 7.
Dude behind
who could we get to do the voice? James Earl Jones.
James Earl Jones.
Hard.
7. He say 7. He don't say 7.
He said 7. That's what we call it. SEMN.
7. 7.
Hey, we appreciate our 7, man.
Yeah, man. He love y'all, man.
Yeah.
All 7 of y'all.
Much love, bro. Appreciate you.
Yes, sir, man.
Oh, hold on. I said much love. You said in the text, I love you, dog.
Love you too, bro.
Nice, bro.
All right, man. We out.
All right, later.
Peace.